Just happening. An Air India, or recently, a plane has crashed in the western city of Ahmedabad. Air India's chairman saying on X that Flight 171 on the way to London's Gatwick Airport was involved in that tragic accident. Police say the plane crashed in a civilian area outside the airport. About 242 passengers on board. According to Flight Radar 24, the aircraft was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner delivered to Air India about 11 years ago. In a statement, Boeing says it's aware of the initial reports, working to gather more information, trying to determine whether there's any possible. I guess at this point there may be survivors. There were some reports that there were some ambulances leaving the scene.
This happened initially on takeoff. It was only up by less than 700 feet in the air.
700 feet. And with all the problems from the 787 that we've seen, I don't think there's been a fatality or a hull failure or anything close to this. And the shares of Boeing, as you can see down 17. Phil LeBeau joins us now on the Squawk News line. Good morning, Phil. What can you tell us?
Good morning, Joe. I'm actually over here in Paris ahead of the Paris Air Show, where we will be listening and hearing from Boeing CEO Kelly Warburg next week, as well as the CEO of GE Aerospace, Larry Culp. We believe that the Air India plane, we haven't confirmed this yet, but we believe it had two GE engines powering it. Look, we're so early in this investigation that it's hard to know exactly what would have caused a catastrophic loss of power and the ability to get any lift, and you have a crash within basically a minute of takeoff. So what you're looking at right now is a situation where once the immediate task at hand, which is trying to see if there are any survivors, once that is done, investigators will have a chance to say, okay, let's find the black box, the cockpit data recorder. There have been reports that the crew issued a mayday warning just seconds before the plane crashed. Whether or not that's true or not, we haven't confirmed. But that will tell us what we need to know in terms of what went horribly wrong within, a minute or two of takeoff. And again, you mentioned the 787 Dreamliner. I do not believe there has been a Dreamliner crash. To my knowledge, this is the first Dreamliner crash. It's not a terribly old aircraft. 11 years is well within the life cycle. So it's not a case of a really old airplane here. We just have to wait and see until we get more information about what exactly contributed and caused this accident.
Can you, Phil, I was going back and trying to look at all the myriad problems of the Dreamliner. How many production stops were there and delays? There were fastener issues. Over the years, it was, along with some of the other problems that were so widely, reported on with Boeing. The Dreamliner, had its own issues, but never an issue like this. And we did see Boeing trading at a 52-week high recently. And not that this has anything to do with the stock, but Boeing has had a lot of problems. It's still 50% below its all-time high. Now this.
Right. I think what you're getting at, Joe, is this question of could some of the quality issues that we've seen over the years when it comes to the Dreamliner, could they have been a contributing factor here? We don't know at this point. But you are correct in saying, look, I remember going back to when they were first developing the Dreamliner that there were issues. You are 100% correct. There were issues when it came to the batteries, a couple of batteries catching on fire. They had to rework that within the aircraft. There have been issues with fasteners. And the production has generally been about 4 per month over the last couple of years, 3 years maybe. Some of that is largely brought on by issues with the pandemic and staffing and the supply chain. But there is no doubt that there will be scrutiny here in terms of the quality of the Dreamliner and specifically what have any of these past issues, could they have been a contributing factor to this accident?
I will point out that Air India's CEO said earlier this year, back in February, I believe, that they would not be taking or exercising their option to buy more Boeing planes until Boeing was able to get through the backlog. They've been in the middle of an upgrade for their fleet where they've been adding a lot of planes. They're a buyer of both Boeing planes and Airbus planes, but
yes,
I think they were concerned about some of the backlog issues and said that until Boeing could figure out when it could deliver some of those, they would not be taking that option on additional planes.
And Boeing is, Becky, Boeing is in the process of planning to increase production for the 787 Dreamliner, going up to 5 per month. And whether or not that's impacted by that remains to be seen.
All right. So we, stay near the phone, and whatever you find out, interesting that you're at the Paris Air Show, and Boeing will be obviously confronted with this front and center when that happens. But hopefully we'll be able to keep tapping your knowledge about the whole industry throughout the show today. So just keep your phone handy. Thanks.